In recent years, the group Anonymous has been linked to various topics, noting that they're on the side of the people and want to highlight areas that aren't being talked about. Researchers who've followed Anonymous since the early days have said that a new generation is now getting involved, with them saying that they're now going in depth about topics that are of interest to many people. In the beginning, Anonymous was basically just a small network of activists, but now it's grown into something much bigger. During Anonymous's beginning though, many of these online hackers were actually caught, showing people that they were not untouchable, with various members being arrested due to computer hacking, fraud and other cyber activities. Now though, members are treating this as a full-time job, and are constantly releasing information to the general public. The majority of the leaks revolve around politics, but once in a while some members go into detail about some of the stranger things that goes on in our world. One of the most recent ones that was leaked by a member of Anonymous was that of the inner workings of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, with the members saying that files that had been obtained by them via hacking and also through declassified networks shows that NASA is very much involved in the search for advanced life forms, and that they have proof that they've made some sort of contact, and notes that the space agency is keeping this from the general public. It's important to note that NASA, the government and other space agencies have denied this, and notes that they've never found anything that suggests that advanced life forms are out there. However, Anonymous have said that they've found proof to counter this. One of the members said the following: "Our civilization is on the verge of discovering evidence of alien life in the cosmos. Taking into account all of the different activities and missions that are specifically searching for evidence of alien life, we are on the edge of making one of the most profound and unprecedented discoveries in history." End quote. Another member said the following: "We have obtained files that back up what others have been saying. We are not claiming to be the ones who originally discovered this information, but upon seeing it, our goal has now become clear. We need to get this out to as many people as possible and show them that we're part of something much bigger, and that we need to start having a more open discussion about our place in the universe." End quote. Anonymous said that discussions are now starting to reach a wider audience, and that now we should start listening to those who've encountered these mysterious aircrafts, saying that NASA has been aware of these for a long time, and that those who have tried to get this information out there are usually stopped. Professionals have long tried to tell their stories about some of the strange things they've encountered, and this includes people like military personnel, passenger pilots and even those within Congress, who have long talked about an advanced threat that has been detected across our entire planet. The reason these things are labelled as a threat is due to their capabilities, and not because they've necessarily done things that have harmed humans. Many have made the connections between these announcements and that of Gary McKinnon. In 1983, when Gary McKinnon was just 17 years old, he went to his local cinema in North London to see a new movie called War Games. In the movie, a computer genius hacks into a Pentagon network. The movie had a big impression on Gary, and it got him thinking, maybe he could also be a hacker. Coupled with his interest in science fiction and mysterious flying aircrafts, his passion for hacking was only ever going to lead him in one direction. Between February 2001 and March 2002, Gary McKinnon was able to hack into US computer networks, where he allegedly uncovered a whole host of information that would land him in deep water, facing possible extradition to the United States. So the question is, what information did he expose? McKinnon claimed he had managed to gain access to NASA websites, and in an interview with Rich Planet TV, claimed to have found information related to advanced flying aircrafts and extraterrestrial life. He claimed to have seen an Excel sheet which had the ranks and names of unknown people, as well as another sheet which had tabs for material transfers between ships. He tried to do some research on the names of the ships, around 8 or 10 in total, but was unable to find any more information relating to any of them. None of these ships were public knowledge, which led him to believe that they were either secret projects or part of a non-terrestrial US initiative. McKinnon said the following: "It was not a typical thing in the military at all, so I took that as they probably have a secret space program." End quote. Many have said that Gary may have found the early workings of Space Force and noted that Space Force may already have ships in space. He gained access to these top documents through a program called Land Search. After obtaining control over the domain, he had the capability to search all the files and folders on every machine. Many who have followed Gary's story have said that many of the things he said back then are now being proven, noting that one former Israeli space security chief said very similar things to what Gary said. Associate Administrator for the agency's Science Mission Directorate Thomas Zurbuchen said the following in regards to these announcements: "Are we alone in the universe? While we do not know yet, we have missions moving forward that may help to answer that fundamental question." End quote. House Committee on Science, Space and Technology Chairman Lama Smiffin said the following during a Congress hearing: "Only in the last few decades have we been able to detect the existence of other worlds. The pursuit of evidence of life beyond our planet fascinates the American people." End quote. Others have followed on from these comments made by Anonymous and said that various different programs have been created in order to study these mysterious flying aircrafts, and that billions of taxpayers' money has been used to fund these programs, and this has led to some saying that the public deserves to know what's going on, especially if they're the ones who are funding these programs. But even though these programs have been going on now for over 60 years, and some information won't be released until hundreds of years' time due to specific laws, officials have denied that there's anything of interest, and have said that there's some things that the general public don't need to know about. Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen is the man that Anonymous targeted, with the group saying that he was one of the people who is behind keeping this information quiet. He said though that the group's claims are not true, saying the following on social media: "Contrary to some reports, there's no pending announcement from NASA regarding extraterrestrial life. Are we alone in the universe? While we do not know yet, we have missions moving forward that may help answer that fundamental question." End quote. As with any discussions that revolve around the possibility of there being life in the universe, people are quick to share their opinions. One user said the following: "The idea that we're alone in the universe is mathematically absurd. Whether we've had any extraterrestrial contact is another matter." While this person said this: "We know that NASA has been involved in the search for advanced life forms. There's documents online that show that they've worked with the National Investigation Committee and have tried to provide answers for what these strange objects are. NASA are very much aware of them and have captured them on a number of occasions." End quote. Anonymous members said that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration is doing the world a disservice, and said they shouldn't be keeping this information under wraps, and said that people deserve to know the truth about what's going on behind closed doors. Bill Nelson, who is the head administrator at NASA, has already been vocal about these mysterious objects, saying that some of these strange crafts might be extraterrestrial life forms, or beings from an alternate universe, but noted that NASA scientists need to carry out more investigations in order to get to the bottom of what these things are. Many were happy with the news that NASA were working to investigate what these things are, something that's never happened before, as NASA officials normally always dismiss these sightings as nothing more than natural phenomena. Some people have stated though that investigations into what these objects are have gone on for decades now, and in most cases the majority of encounters and sightings have remained a mystery. High-up military officials whose job it was to track these things have said we know what they are, but are no closer to understanding how these things work. Associate Administrator for the agency's Science Mission Directorate, Thomas Zurbuchen carried on by saying that we need to move forward with missions in order to get a solid answer, saying that NASA's upcoming missions could help to answer some of the world's biggest questions. He said the following: "Taking into account all of the different activities and missions that are searching for alien life, we're on the verge of making some of the most profound, unprecedented discoveries in history." End quote. House Committee on Science, Space and Technology Chairman Lamar Smithin said the following during a Congress hearing: "Only in the last few decades have we been able to detect the existence of other worlds. The pursuit of evidence of life beyond our planet fascinates the American people." End quote. Anonymous responded with the following: "The evidence sure seems to imply that something is going on in the skies above us." The group is referring to the countless reports of mysterious objects that is seen in our sky every year, with them saying that we know that something is going on, as NASA and the military are working hard to keep a lot of this information under wraps. Even astronauts have been vocal about these strange crafts, and said that on various missions they saw crafts that were able to travel at extreme speeds. When they landed back home and went to talk to NASA about what they had seen, they said that they would usually be told that it was something mundane like a rocket engine, or a piece of space debris. Gordon Cooper described coming into contact with a mysterious craft that had landed, going on to say the following: "I saw with my own eyes a defined area of ground being consumed by flames, with 4 indentations left by a flying object, which had descended in the middle of a field. Beings had left the craft. There were other traces to prove this. They seemed to have studied topography. They collected soil samples, and eventually returned to where they come from, disappearing at enormous speed." End quote. Other astronauts said that while in space they would see strange-looking shapes approach their crafts, and noted that when they reported it to NASA, they responded by saying they couldn't see anything on their screens. It's announcements like these that's caused some people to have an open mind and ask whether we are truly alone in the universe. NASA and other space agencies have said there's billions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone, and there's billions of galaxies out there, which could all be teeming with life. Only time will tell whether we're told some of the secrets of our world, and whether we are part of something much bigger. The days of claiming that strange objects are nothing more than someone's imagination running wild are long gone. Former presidents, Air Force pilots, space executives and many others are just some of those who have been vocal about this topic. What these objects are, where they're coming from and how they're able to achieve what they do is still up for debate. Skeptics will say that pilots who have decades worth of experience of seeing balloons and plastic bags, but now it seems that even those who had once doubted these claims are starting to take them a little more seriously. Military pilots and satellites in the US have recorded these interesting objects flying around in our sky at extreme speeds, and as of right now US officials have struggled to explain what they are. As some have pointed out, one of the problems with this discussion is that these objects aren't just a little more advanced than our jets, they are outperforming them by a mile, and this poses an interesting question. If these things do belong to another country, does that mean that every other country is hundreds of years behind in terms of branching out? It's this question that divides people, as many have said that no single country would be able to advance their fleet in such a short amount of time. For those unaware, these objects have been detected and recorded flying at tens of thousands of miles per hour, have been observed interacting with jets, even going as far as shutting down the jet's electrical systems, with them only turning back on again once the jet has left the area, ascending and descending thousands of feet in a matter of seconds, and flying into restricted airspace then flying off before an advanced jet can get to them. The former president's intelligence director John Radcliffe said that there's many unexplained objects that have been detected in recent years, and that many of these can't be explained. John Radcliffe recently said the following: "We are talking about objects that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or travelling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without making a sonic boom." End quote. The former president has come forward and said that he has inside knowledge of these mysterious flying aircrafts, and has even said that he may release inside information to the world when he feels like the time is right. This has led some to say that he may use this information in the near future as a way of trying to inform people about what's going on behind the scenes. Insiders have said that the former president may release this soon. The former president has said in previous interviews that he has information that could change the world. This is exciting as many presidents have been against talking about mysterious flying objects, but now with the recent shift in views, it seems that he could be the one to announce it to the world. Well, former President Obama had this to say: "When it comes to the topic, there are some things I just can't tell you. What I can say, and I'm being serious here, is that there's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, or their trajectory. They do not have an easily explainable pattern." End quote. John Ratcliffe continued with the following: "Frankly, there's a lot more sightings that have been made public. At this moment in time, we don't have good explanations about what's being seen. I actually wanted to get this information out and declassify it before I left office." End quote. What's interesting about these investigations is that US officials do not rule them out as coming from an outside source. The United States Department of Defense has announced that they're establishing a new group in order to investigate what these objects are. The formation of the group is due to the fact that released documents show that we have no idea what these are, with 99% of them remaining a mystery, with US officials not being able to provide an adequate explanation for these sightings. This hasn't sat right with some people though, with one person saying the following: "We've had these programs now since the 1950s, which means we've got 70 years worth of data and hundreds of thousands of reports, but yet we're still no closer to understanding what these things are. We have spent billions of dollars on these programs in order to get an answer, yet no one seems to know what these things are, where they're coming from, and why they're so much more advanced than us." End quote. One person said the following about this: "One of the things that surprises me the most is how people aren't making more of a fuss about these encounters. Are we just going to disregard and ignore the testimonies of the trained and seasoned pilots who have witnessed these things countless times in their careers? These people are the ones that spend the most amount of time in the sky, and they're the ones we should be listening to. It still blows my mind that people listen to skeptics over these guys. Skeptics who have never been in a jet, don't have any type of qualifications, aren't aware of the ins and outs of the job, and who have no idea about how things behave in the sky when at certain altitudes. The equivalent would be if an astronomer found something interesting on their telescope and labelled it as an asteroid, but then someone who doesn't have a background in astronomy came along and said that what they're most likely seeing is a smudge on the lens. It's an insult for someone with no experience to tell someone with decades worth of experience that what they're seeing is a balloon or a plastic bag." End quote. Well, this person said the following: "It's nuts to me that we just have this whole topic that doesn't really get touched on, and that it still has the stigma attached to it. You have some of the most intelligent people coming forward with their testimonies, yet it still feels like we're brushing them aside. This isn't a random person coming forward with their stories. These are the people who are qualified and know the skies better than anyone else. I saw one skeptic say that what these pilots are seeing is likely Venus. He tried to explain away this pilot's encounter by saying that they were seeing a stationary planet, which is 29,155,979 miles away from Earth." End quote. So what do you make of this topic, and what do you think these pilots are encountering? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comments section below. It'd help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.